What's good, y'all? Want to drop a message for y'all again today. I just got done doing my cardio. It's hot as hell outside. I did it outside. And as I was doing my cardio, Spirit wanted me to give y'all this message. So normally when I do my cardio, my workout or anything, I'm covered up from head to toe. My cardio, we got this heat advisory. We done had it for a couple days now out here, and I still did my cardio from head to toe outside. I went to my quiet place, and normally I have my headphones, I listen to my music, but this time Spirit was like, do this walk. I did a 2-hour walk. Do this walk without your music, don't put your headphones on. And at first I was back and forth about it in my head, because I'm like, I normally listen to my music, you know what I'm saying? I either listen to some music or watch a video or something like that while I'm doing my cardio. But this time Spirit was like, no, do this walk this walk without that music. And so I did. But what happens was, as I was doing my walk, it's hot as hell outside. I mean, it's so hot out here. Like, I felt the heat coming through my tennis shoes I was wearing. Not to mention I was covered up from head to toe. And immediately started having these thoughts like, I'm about to put this music on, like I ain't gonna make it, you feel me? Had my water or whatever, but I didn't put the headphones on. And so the video that I made yesterday, where I mentioned something about the quiet place, and I talked about the quiet place several times throughout my content. I never really went into depth about it though, but Spirit wanted me to go into depth about it. Spirit wanted me to reveal to y'all that it understands. It truly understands why some of you refuse to go into it. Some of you refuse to sit in it because it's called the quiet place specifically for the fact that, that's the place, whether it be in your car, hell, you can have the quiet place in your closet, at your house, at the park, wherever you feel like is most peaceful to you. Wherever you are, to where you don't have no distractions. You got your phone on do not disturb. You're not surrounded by anybody. You're not distracted by anything or anybody. It's literally you and God, right? Although it's called the quiet place, it can actually be a loud place, right? Although it's called the quiet place, it can actually be a loud place. It can actually be loud because of your thoughts. It can actually be loud because of the emotional roller coaster you might be going through at that time due to whatever it is that you may be dealing with. It can be loud simply because it forces you to be in a place where you have to face. You're going to face whatever it is that you might be dealing with. All those thoughts that you be having, the negative thoughts, the depression you may be feeling, the heartache you may be feeling, whatever it is that you may be going through in your mind. You see, our minds is always racing. Your mind is always racing. It's a lot of times where you have these self-negative talks, a lot of times where you face doubt, you know what I'm saying? And you have to learn to, in order to take the first step in your healing process, you have to learn to be in those thoughts. Be in that place where it's just you and your thoughts, along with God, you feel me? And Spirit wanted me to let you know that it understands why you are stagnant when it comes to getting into that place, because you don't want to face those thoughts. You don't want to have to deal with that noise. You see what I'm saying? It'd be a lot of noise that go on in our head. So when I took this walk without my music this time, it started to get loud. It started to get loud because I started thinking about how hot I was, you know. I started thinking about, like, that's all I kept thinking about was how hot it was. And, you know, when you have those thoughts, then, you know, it kind of breeds to a degree, you know, like excuses, you know. Started to make excuses for why I couldn't finish this walk. You know, at one point I wanted to sit down. I didn't sit down, but I wanted to, because I passed several benches, several tables, you know, where I could have sat down and took a moment, but I kept going. I kept going. And I fought against what I was thinking. I fought against how I was feeling. You know, I was able to turn off those thoughts and continue my walk. And it was hard. It wasn't easy. I do it all the time. You know what I'm saying? Whether it can be -degree weather out here. If I want to take this walk, I'm going to take the walk. And I deal with the same thing when it's cold outside. You feel me? But Spirit wants you to know that it understands why you refrain sometimes from getting to that quiet place, because you don't want to hear all that noise. You don't want to be surrounded with all that noise. You see what I'm saying? But in order to start your healing process, you have to learn to sit in it. You got to learn to face that shit. And every time you condition yourself to do that, the next time it gets too noisy, too loud for you, you'll know how to handle it. Because even when you decide to take those steps into your healing process, that shit don't never quiet down. It don't never quiet down. You just learn how to, you know, live your life and continue to move forward and do what you got to do despite all the loud noise. You see what I'm saying? So, just wanted to encourage you that do not be afraid of going into that quiet place. A lot of times, because we don't want to hear it, you know, we don't want to think about what we're thinking about, we don't want to face what we're dealing with, we like to try to mask it with things, whether it be with drugs or alcohol. I used to mask my shit with alcohol. I used to drink a lot because I couldn't handle the noise, you feel me? I didn't want to face it. A lot of times during that point in my life, I really went to my quiet place. Failing to realize, you know, I was so pressed on not being around all that noise, not being so much in my head about things, or trying to, you know, not have to face what I was going through at that time to the best of my ability by masking, by trying to cover up how I was feeling, you know, with liquor and shit like that. You know, my diet was fucked up, eating whatever, drinking whatever, you know what I'm saying? And I didn't know at that time how much it was really hurting me. I didn't know at that time that all I had to do was simply go to that quiet place. Was simply go to that quiet place, feel how I was feeling, but trust that God had my back. You feel me? Trust that God was going to see me through what I was going through. I didn't trust him enough. You see me? You hear what I'm saying? Like, I didn't trust him enough. And so I turned to alcohol. My diet was all weird, you know, eating out all the time, and, you know, then getting, you know, big as hell, and then feeling down about that. You know, it's a domino effect. Sometimes it pays for you to just face the issues, you know, face your thoughts. It's a domino effect. And you got to learn to sit in that quiet place with those thoughts and understand that no matter what you're thinking, no matter what you're going through, that God got you. You feel me? It's like, it's just a conditioning. Like, even at times when I be in the gym, it's times where I either forgot my headphones in the gym, or my headphones end up dying on me during my workout. You know what I'm saying? And I'm lifting these weights, I'm going through my workout routine, and it zoned me out because I'm like, Now I'm really faced with, you know, trying to get through this workout while I'm in my head about things. Because when you in the gym and you lifting weights and stuff like that, you be in your head about things. And you learn to take whatever you feeling at that moment, whether it's sad, anger, whatever you feeling when you in that gym, and you learn to take that shit and turn it into the energy you need to get through your workout, you know, to lift them weights, to get through that cardio session. You feel me? But I had to learn I couldn't stop my workout. I forgot my headphones. I still got to do my workout. They died on me. I still got to continue my workout. You see what I'm saying? So I just wanted to give you that message and encourage you to not be afraid of that quiet place. The more you condition yourself to sit there, even when you meditate, sometimes when you meditate and you pray, your thoughts be going crazy. Like you try to put yourself in a position like, okay, I'm about to pray, or I'm about to meditate. You know what I'm saying? So I'm about to just focus on, you know, this conversation I'm about to have with God. But a lot of times you'll realize that in the midst of you meditating or in the midst of you praying, your thoughts is going crazy. And if you don't have the understanding, it will make you kind of feel bad, like make you feel like you're not truly reverencing yourself to source, so you can, you know, have this conversation with them and hear what you got to hear. But I'm here to tell you that it's actually natural. It's okay. You know what I'm saying? Don't let that stop you from having that moment with God. You see what I'm saying? Like, don't let it stop you from hearing what you got to hear from the source. So the more you condition yourself, the more you force yourself to sit there, the more you'll be prepared in the future. Because like I said, the thoughts never stop. Your mind is always loud. It's always going to be loud. We're always going to be faced with all these thoughts and shit in our head. And no matter what we go through, and no matter how much you've grown in life, it's always going to continue to be loud. But the difference will be that you will know how to handle that shit when it comes. And sometimes you'll get to a point, even at times, where you just ignore that shit because you already know what it is. But if you lack the understanding, and every time it happens, then you will allow it to overpower you. You know what I'm saying? So don't be afraid when you're in that quiet place of those thoughts. Go in there and feel what you're feeling. Cry if you got to. Scream if you got to. But do not cheat yourself out of having that relationship with God in them because you don't want to face your thoughts. You don't want to hear the noise in your head. You feel me?